Hey guys, welcome to the Foxhole. I'm Nandor Fox Shaffer, and in today's episode of The Art of Writing Comics, we're going to be looking at Ant-Man issue 1, written by Nick Spencer. So here we go. What are the funniest comics that you guys have read? Is there a superhero comic that just makes you laugh with every issue? Because if you haven't found one, look no further than Ant-Man by Nick Spencer. This is one of the funniest books I've ever read in my entire history of reading comics. I know I'm super young, but I've read a lot of superhero books and I've read a lot of comics, and this is by far the funniest comic that I've read. And it's not cringy or anything. It's real tasteful humor. And this came out in 2015, kind of gearing up for the first Ant-Man movie by Marvel Studios. And I remember reading this at the time and just absolutely loving it. And, watching the Ant-Man movie, it made me like it even more. But like the comic is just, to me, it's a lot better than the films. And it's just so much more funny and it's just funnier and it's so good. It's so good. And so I want to go through this run. It didn't last very long. It was, I believe, maybe around 15 issues or so. And they actually did a renumbering. It's like 1 through 6 and then Secret Wars tie-in. And then they're renumbered it with like Astonishing Ant-Man. But it was still Nick Spencer and Roman Rosanas. Let's get into this. I'm really excited to talk about Ant-Man. This was, again, another book that I really wanted to talk about and really emphasize writing humor in comics. Comics were originally funny books, right? I mean, they were about the humor and about using sequential storytelling to crack a joke, make a punchline, do funny things, in newspapers and the Sunday funnies and comic strips. And, everyone would read comics for that. And there are some people, unfortunately, to this day who think comics, that's all they are, funny books or whatever. And of course, that's not true. But this is, not only is this a great book about being a father to your daughter, it's hilarious, and it's also about someone trying to be a better man. And I believe the graphic novel was called Second Chance Man, and that's really the collection for the first few issues, first story arc. That's really what this is. And so, I was always a big fan of Hank Pym. Of course, Scott Lang is the second Ant-Man, but I always loved Hank Pym. I'm really prefer the original. But I wanted to try this out because I was a fan of Nick Spencer from Thunder Agents, and I heard the Superior Foes of Spider-Man was also really good. And so this was a series that I was also excited for the Ant-Man film coming out. And so I wanted to read about Scott Lang. I wanted to see who he was as a character and see what I could find and what I liked about him. We opened this up and he says, "My name is Scott Lang. I'm Ant-Man." Okay, fine. I'll be the first to admit it. The whole Ant-Man thing, it maybe doesn't wow people as much as you might hope. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great, but there's a sliding scale to these things. You're at a superhero party. Guys like, "I'm an immortal god who controls thunder and lightning." Another guy's like, "I'm the mutant king of Atlantis." Woman turns to you. What do you say? "I can make myself really small, talk to ants, also divorced." You're going to hear me laugh a lot throughout this comic and looking at the other issues. And I hope you guys enjoy this with me because it's hilarious. And I have gone back to this over and over thinking, it's not going to be as funny as I remember it. And I mean, you know how that is with comedic movies and comedy movies. it's funny the first time, then you go back and you're like, maybe it wasn't as funny as I thought. Or it just starts out funny and then it just kind of fizzles away. That is not true with this series. Every single issue is funny and is charming and just has like Nick Spencer has so many quips and he makes Scott Lang such a likable character. And in the fact that there's been like a dozen Ant-Mans or sort of Ant-Mans, and most of them are either dead or turned bad guy. The whole thing can be a bit of a wash, but I am trying to make the most of it. Oh man. So yeah, he's just talking. He's like, so where was I? Right, making the most of it. Truth is, I can do some pretty cool stuff if I do say so myself. Take the ants for example. Great for getting to those tough to reach places. He says, good job, Chuck Barris. Yes, I name them. It's important to let your employees know you value them. And believe me, these little guys respond to positive reinforcement. Yeah, I love this sequence here. And again, the art is being done by Ramon Rosanas, and he's perfect for this. They do such a great job. I believe, and I think they worked on Superior Foes of Spider-Man together too. So they've had, a great history and great collaboration together. But yeah, he names his ants, which is hilarious. You'd be amazed at what you can do, like burglary. Man, look at this place. Rich guys, right? That is one big TV. And at this point, sure, it'd be fair for you to ask, hey, Ant-Man, why'd you break into some rich guy's apartment? You said at the party you were a superhero. And I'd tell you, well, it's not just any rich guy. And we see Iron Man's helmet. This is during the Superior Iron Man phase when he had the really, really sweet blue and silver costume. But now hold on. Before you get all finger waggy and judgmental, I do have a very good reason for doing this. So we go to the flashback here. Or, money. One of the two. It's like, So he's having this job interview. He wants to work as a security solutions, like a security guy. So yeah, he says, well, first off, thank you for coming down to speak with us, Mr. Man. But you can call me Ant. Sorry, terrible joke. Scott Lang. And that's the thing. Nick Spencer knows when it's not working, and he'll call himself out for it. He says, wait, you led with the last name, didn't you? You were like Mr. Uh-oh. Then it's Lang, Scott. Fix it, fix it, fix it. Wait, maybe that wasn't clear. My name's not Lang Scott. It's Scott Lang. It's getting worse, idiot. You can call me Scott. Stop talking now. That's what he's saying. So I love that. I love how he's using this interaction with this other employee who's interviewing him, and he's speaking, but he's thinking at the same time, and it just adds to Scott Lang's kind of really his attitude, his persona. He says, oh, yes, here it is. Well, Mr. Lang, as I was saying, thank you for coming down to speak with us. And he says, thank you for accepting a double-sided resume. Yes, unconventional that. He says, apparently it's the default setting at Kinko's. It's like, Kinko's? I had no idea. Then if you want to go back and do it again, they charge you for another print job, which means you got to refill your card. He's like, it's fine, really. But before we could begin the interview, I did need to ask about something. And he says, in your preliminary paperwork under the box for have you ever been convicted of felony, you checked yes. Was that an error? He's like, oh, no, that's right. I've been to prison. Which he was. He stole. That's how he became Ant-Man. I mean, he was going to steal the suit from Hank Pym. So yeah, he's kind of a redemption story in a way, and that's something that this character does. And this is a really funny scene too. He's like, I got really good at stealing things. I was trying to make my marriage work. This ironically ended my marriage because he got caught for stealing things. But he's taking care of his daughter Cassie. Kind of goes through his history here, and it's just it's hilarious stuff. And so he wants to work for Tony Stark and be his security guy, and which is you're like, why is he going to steal from him in the beginning? And like you said, we'll get to that. But yeah, he's going to have this contest. He's been interviewing. Tony Stark has been interviewing different people for the job, and he's like telling him, I need this. He's like, can you believe that guy? He's lecturing me on sticking to stuff. Hi, I'm Tony Stark. I ran S.H.I.E.L.D. to the ground and kind of got Captain America killed. Oops. Guess I'll go to outer space and fight some aliens. Oh wait, everyone hates me here too. I just do not get corporate America. But hey, who needs him, right? I mean, besides for the amazing job I desperately want, I got people who believe in me, people who know what I got going on, my untapped potential, my first-rate intellect, my scintillating wit. That's right. People who think I'm an all-around okay guy. Relatives count, right? He sees his daughter here. And then he sees his ex-wife, Peggy. He's like, ex-wife alert, warning, warning. That's great. And of course, they're having issues, custody, things like that. He's really trying to be a good dad. And she says, I'm not going to let you drag her into your mess with you. He's like, mess? What mess? And we go to see his place. Yeah, it's it's pretty dingy. Now you see why we didn't exactly work out together. My marriage was like Vietnam, completely unwinnable. The mistake was going in it in the first place. I needed a recharge. Oh my gosh. Man, where'd the grocery money go? All right, sweet new costume designs and movie tickets. Guess it doesn't matter anyway. Gotta get ready for the big night. So yeah, it's hilarious. He's eating, he goes into this, I don't know, this sugar bottle or something, and he's just eating from this, or the yogurt or something like that. Sugar bottle, that's not a thing. But he's just eating in there, and let's see how they measure up to the astonishing Ant-Man. So he meets people that has to compete with to get the job. This is Beetle, I believe. She's kind of throughout this series, she becomes a recurring character. So they have to crack this code, and Tony Stark gets to Ant-Man. He's like, sure, I'll do it. I mean, if knows everything kid and living computer lad can't do this, how the heck am I supposed to? Luckily, I do have one secret superpower none of the others have. The power to fake sick. So he uses the PIM particles to make himself throw up. And then we see right here, he's washing the Ant-Man helmet. So yeah, he couldn't make it, and so now he's breaking into Tony Stark's place and is going to try to crack the code so he can actually get the job. And then he sees that Tony Stark and Beetle are making out. He's like, oh, come on. Beetle's hooking up with Stark now? I can't believe this. It's totally cheating. I mean, yeah, sure, this is cheating too, but this is different in ways that are difficult to express. It's like, oh, whatever. Tomorrow we'll see how our unmerited advantage does against my unmerited advantage. For now, I just want to get out of here. Before things get awkward, please God, let this thing get done before I have to see too late, always too late, and see Tony Stark's boxers on the helmet, and it covers him up. Oh man. He's like, I wonder if you can sue for a hostile work environment before you're technically hired. And then so he cracks it, and Tony, this was all kind of a setup, and he wants to give him the job. And he is going to give him this place, and he says I'll make sure they wash everything. So this would be his penthouse or his apartment. and she was actually going to kill Tony as a hired assassin. Like, this is for women everywhere. He's like, Tony, look out. And, he stops it and saves him. And he's like, can you believe that guy? I mean, how great is he? Tony Stark, man of the people. Giving me the opportunity, work for his place. And but then he finds out that his ex-wife and his daughter are moving. And so he refuses this job that he's been wanting to get and worked so hard to get so he could be with his daughter. And Tony Stark, of course, is furious. And that just, that could have been the series. It could have been Scott Lang, basically Iron Man popping in every other issue to like keep this series afloat. But Nick Spencer intentionally takes Scott Lang out of the picture of that and takes him to Florida, Miami, away from New York, away from all the superheroes, away from the guest stars and all that stuff, to where Ant-Man can be a hero in a series on its own. And I think that's a really smart move. Like I said, that's what the series could have been, but instead it's something all new and all different. And this is amazing. This scene right here, he goes to a toy store and he's like, except I don't actually have a home in my home. Like, how old's your son? She's 14. He's buying this like little toy apartment. It actually isn't for her anyway. It's for me. He's like, oh, you're one of those. And this is actually, there's actually this other scene that reminds me of. Right here. So he says, Scott, did you not hear me? You won. This was the test. That's Tony speaking to Ant-Man. And you passed, my friend. He's like, huh? That thing earlier was just a setup. There was no way to beat it. He's like, you mean like the Kobayashi Maru? He's like, the what? From Star Trek. And he's like, oh, you're one of those. So that's kind of a recurring punchline. And I think it works really well. So yeah, and then it ends on a really sweet moment where they shrink down together. And of course, his ex-wife doesn't want him doing that to their daughter, shrinking them down because of her heart and her heart condition. But they're sitting down and they're watching like this Hunger Games spinoff, is what he says. And it's like a smartphone shrunk down to fit in the apartment, the toy apartment. And I love it. He's like, my name is Scott Lang. I'm Ant-Man, yada, yada, yada. You've heard it all before. Truth is, I've always been kind of a lousy superhero. And before that, I was a failed criminal, a convict, had a terrible husband. Not much of a resume, even if you do print it single-sided, I guess. But I got this little girl here, and I'm going to do everything I possibly can to do right by her. I'm going to be a good dad. I pull that off. I'm calling it a win. Also, still got the big TV, kinda. That counts for something, right? And we end. And yeah, you really get so much story and for the price tag of when it came out, it was $4.99. It's a little oversized book. Just every issue is hilarious, and I'm going to go through the series because I really want to talk about it more. So yeah, please let me know if you've read Nick Spencer's Ant-Man. How'd you like it? This is one of my just favorite superhero stories. One of my favorite Ant-Man story I've ever read. And I'd love it if they would do something with Hank Pym, but this really was just such a great run. And to me, there's so much to love about this. And like I said, every issue is hilarious. And so we're going to take a look at that. And, writing humor is really difficult. When you're writing comedy, just in general, you really have to do it right, or people, you fail the first few times with your jokes and your lines. You got to keep being interesting and keep the reader interested, and your jokes and what you're trying to say, you know. And like I said, this isn't cringy to me at all. And when it is, Scott Lang, you know, or somehow Nick Spencer finds a way to realize that, and it's aware of, you know, what it's trying to do. So, like, all in all, I think this is a good study in looking at how to write humor and how to do, you know, how to do right by certain characters. And this makes Scott Lang such a likable character, and was a really great introductory point for me for the character too. You know, of course, I knew about him, knew his history, but actually getting a title where he started in it was a new thing for me, and I'm really glad I did. This is one of my, really one of my favorite superhero comics that I've read. So thank you guys so much. Please like this video, subscribe to this channel. This is The Art of Writing Comics, looking at Ant-Man issue 1. Please hit the notification bell for when all my videos are uploaded, so you get a notification. And comment below. And like I said, tell me if you've read this, and what are the funniest comics that you've read. I'd love to know, and I'd love to read them. Thank you so much.